It is Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. This is another offseason edition of Baseball Today. That is not my man, Trevor Plouffe. That is my dude, Jerry Blevins. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. We told you we'd probably see you later in the week unless anything magical happened in the baseball world. And here we are on a Tuesday, and we have brought in the lefty to go get it. Jerry, I haven't seen you in forever. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing lovely. Yeah, different levels of handsomeness between Trevor Plouffe and myself.
Stop that.
But I do come in relief for plenty of handsome people and clean up their mess. So I'll do it today too.
Will you stop that? You look like you could be on the top of the wedding cake as well.
Well,
just like
thank
Trevor
you.
Plouffe.
I'm not saying that I'm ugly by no means, but there's levels to this, Rosie. And Plouffe, love him. He's on a different level. I'll be honest.
Oh, come on now.
You know it too. It too.
You're beautiful where it counts, Jerry. And smart. And you work. We're still doing our SNY gig, aren't we?
That's the truth. Yeah, I do it. Every month I'm out in New York talking Mets. So that's why you got me on today, and that's why you're rocking that beautiful hat of yours.
I know. There you go.
I like that one.
Well, Jolly called me last night because he did a live stream, and so nobody else would pick up. I was the only loser who picked up to be a guest on his live stream. So let's kick this around. Let's get to it. The Mets, they have a new closer, at least we think closer. Maybe not. Free agent Devin Williams, 3 years, $45 million, first reported by Will Salmon of The Athletic. There's also a $6 million signing bonus spread out equally over the 3 years. And there's $15 million worth of deferrals. Now, we don't know what this means for former Mets closer Edwin Diaz, who's currently a free agent. We'll get to that momentarily. But just as a standalone signing, Jerry, do you love the deal for New York? Do you like the deal? Are you meh? Where do you sit on it?
I love the deal as a standalone. Oh, absolutely. I mean, he definitely makes the team better. He had a crazy year for the Yankees last year, started off about as poor as it got, but he turned it on. He kind of figured himself out. He lost his closer role, but in the end, I think was excellent. All his peripherals are good. That airbender is still an elite pitch. His fastball velocity was still up there. I think he just kind of floundered a little bit. It was a lot of pressure coming to New York, being in your free agent year, and then maybe if you're tipping pitches on top of that, some things kind of snowball, and in a season where you have a rough month as a reliever, it can look terrible. But the truth is he locked it in towards the back half of that season. For the Mets, they need this. We talked about Diaz being gone, but they're also losing Helsley, Tyler Rogers, like the whole back end of the bullpen. The only returners that they have are Brooks Raley, who's coming off a great year, but he was halfway through the year coming from Tommy John. You have Huáscar Brazoban is another guy that you never know who he's going to be.
Right.
And then there's another guy coming off of injury, that AJ Minter, who's excellent. He had really good, but he's had some injury issues. But outside of that, you don't know what you're going to get from him. And this makes you better. It's a fact. He could be a closer. He's got that kind of stuff. I think they're still in the market to shore up those back end guys, get that Edwin Diaz type, but he makes the team better.
So he had it as fascinating an up and down year out of a really good reliever that we've seen in recent memory, in my opinion. So what did he do well? He made 67 appearances. That's a huge number. And he's had 1 year where he wasn't healthy, right? He had the back issue in Milwaukee toward the back end of his stay there. But other than that, he's been very reliable health-wise. That's a big deal. When you're going to pitch roughly every other game, almost every other game, we need to be able to count on you. And you know this better than everybody, that if you can't be counted on down there, it can screw up everything, particularly when you're a high leverage guy like Williams, whether he ends up pitching in the 8th or the 9th. Here's where things went sideways for him. I remembered that it felt like there were a ton of times he had blow-up games. And I'm not talking about a run trickling in here and there. I'm talking about 3 or 4 run outings, which is an astronomical number, which will blow your ERA and every other number that you've got through the roof. 9 of his 67 appearances, he gave up multiple runs. And I said, okay, that feels like a lot. Is it? His previous 3 seasons, he pitched 148 games combined. He gave up multiple runs 7 times. That's it over those 3 years compared to 9 a year ago. So something went wrong. As you mentioned, the peripherals were great. He is a guy that has consistently been elite, not good. He has been elite. He was in Milwaukee. And I expect him to get back there. I think there is always an adjustment period for guys. And then you take that to the nth degree when you're talking about going to a place like the New York Yankees. And then you can factor in the walk year as well. I don't care. I mean, you know this better than I do. You've seen it. Does it affect people when they go into their walk year?
It does. It can, especially when you're in uncomfortable surroundings. I mean, this guy was with one team his whole career. Then all of a sudden, when it really matters for his life, for the, setting himself up for the rest of his life, he's now in the Bronx under the most scrutiny ever. You go from a small market to the biggest market. It can weigh on you, not to mention the last game that he threw shook his confidence. The home run he gave up to Pete Alonso to end his season. You would like to go into that next year being like, that was just a blip on the radar. It was a fluke. It happens. He got me. But then, you add up all these things. Maybe his confidence was a little bit shaken and he just never got on the right track until the second half when he kind of turned it on. But you're right. This feels like a buy low on a very high quality guy. I think they're getting him at a discount. If you look at it, I mean, they just signed Ryan Helsley in Baltimore for $17 million a year. I like paying the extra year and a little bit more to get Devin Williams. I like the contract for both teams, honestly, but I think Devin Williams is elite enough to get to. I think we're getting him at a buy low average annual value.
Well, I think didn't Helsley sign 2 for 28? I thought.
Was it 2 for 28?
Yeah,
Even,
it was 2.
Yeah. Okay, I
Yeah,
thought it
2
was
for
2
28.
Yeah.
So they're right around each other, but obviously
Yeah.
with the deferrals, it makes it a little different for New York. Real quickly, he did lose his closer's job in August to David Bednar, who came over from Pittsburgh in that trade. But from August 10th through the end of the season, Williams' ERA dropped to 2.5 in 19 games. He struck out nearly half of the 70 batters he faced over 18 innings. His chase and whiff rate were still elite throughout the year. So those are all good things. So now let's move on to this. There are several reports that say Williams signing will not have an impact on the Mets' pursuit of retaining Diaz, who opted out of the last couple of years of his contract. Do you think the Williams signing helps, hinders, or has zero impact on where Diaz ends up going?
I think it has zero impact on where Diaz goes. I think his market is above that. I don't think it eliminates the Mets. I think if they were planning on signing Edwin Diaz in the realm of what he's worth in that $100 million, 5 years plus, I think if they were ever in that market, then signing Devin Williams to be the 8th inning guy is something that you would have to do anyway, because there's so many holes still left to fill in their bullpen. And signing Edwin Diaz to that contract is a win now, win in the next 2 years kind of move. But Diaz is the cream of the crop. It's like there's so many teams that all need pitching, all could use one of the best closers in the game. Swing and miss stuff. The guy's done it on the biggest stage. I don't think it affects him because it doesn't eliminate the Mets from signing him. And the Mets are a bargaining chip, whether he comes back or leaves. They could always outbid with Steve Cohen's pockets. But I don't think it has an effect on Diaz at all. I think his market is still going to be as strong as ever.
Okay. I agree with you 100% on the answer to that question. Now, David Stearns, who, of course, came over from Milwaukee and had a relationship with Devin Williams prior to signing him to this 3-year deal, did not trade for Edwin Diaz, did not give him that 5-year, $102 million deal, reportedly does not like handing out huge deals to closers. It sounds like 3 years is where he's comfortable in constructing a team. Do you think that it's not to be punny here, swing and a miss if they don't pony up for Diaz and have him return?
Oh man, they're in a weird place. The Mets. I think David Stearns already proved that he cares about the construction of the roster more than he cares about the idea around the team by asking Brandon Nimmo to waive his no trade clause and trading him. That he was the heartbeat of this team from excuse me, from a fan's perspective. So I don't think the nostalgia, the former contracts of who they have matters. Not signing Diaz though uh, is a weird move for the Mets, who have Francisco Lindor in a huge contract, Juan Soto in year 2 of a contract. Are you punting for a year? Because Edwin Diaz is clearly the best option. He's done it here. There's so much history to have him sign here. What do you do? Where do you fill that in? I think it's a loss if they don't sign him, but I understand giving a reliever 5 years is scary. I don't I don't know what the move is if they don't sign him, but they still need to fill in that bullpen. They still need major question marks in that lineup, and the rotation was the whole reason they didn't make the postseason last year anyway. So I think there's bigger question marks than not signing Edwin Diaz.
I don't know why you wouldn't. You
That's
just
the question.
right. I mean, money is no object. It certainly sounds like they don't have a problem being over the tax. That they're just going to keep incurring these penalties, and their owner's going to be like, right, yeah, this is what I do. This is how I roll, and whatever financial penalties come along with it, everything else we'll deal with. But I don't mind the dollar for dollar over this. It doesn't bother me. So if we do end up signing Edwin Diaz to another 5 years, $100 million, it's actually going to feel like $200 million in my pocketbook. Well, guess what? I've got that lying around, and yeah, they can't now not bring him back. At least if he chooses to go elsewhere and the money's the same, that's Edwin Diaz's choice. But if David Stearns is going into Uncle Stevie's office and saying, yeah, I don't think we should go above 3 years because I'm not comfortable paying years 4 and 5 of the contract. You don't think the boss man's going to be like, come here, kid. I don't care about years 4 and 5. You know what I care about? Not blowing a lead and winning 83 games and watching the fucking Cincinnati Reds in the playoffs instead of a team where I just paid $800 million for a ball player. That's what I care about. I don't want to hear crap about years 4 and 5. I want to hear about 2026. That's how that discussion's going to go.
No, I agree with that, and I don't think that David Stearns has a 3 year limit on a max contract, especially for a guy. I mean, you gave Devin Williams 3 years. They're a little bit different, obviously. I think it's, but if you're going to spend it, it is what it is. If you want to win now, you sign the best guy out there, and you go out and get Edwin Diaz, who could end up, if you sign him to 5 years, passing John Franco for your all-time saves. Like there's some other factors that he probably doesn't care about. But if you want to win, Edwin Diaz, and money is no object, he's clearly the best option out there. And I don't know where I honestly don't know where they go if they don't go for him. If he doesn't sign with the Mets, I'm not sure what they do this year.
By the way, Diaz will be 32 next March. How good was he a season ago? His strikeout numbers down a little bit compared to where he's been, but they were so through the roof good. They were still excellent a season ago. Remember, I talked to you about Williams and the multiple run games. He had 9 of them in 67 appearances. Diaz had 2 of those in 62 games last year. There's going to be teams drooling at the bit, whether it's the Dodgers, the Blue Jays. I would think maybe the Giants would certainly look at him. Those are all certain. Do you have to get that? Is it?
That was an alarm I have, but no, we're okay.
Oh my God, what's going on right now?
Nothing, I don't think.
Do you have a dentist appointment?
We had an appointment, but it got canceled because of the snow day. We have a snow day here in Ohio.
This is a big deal.
It is a big deal. It's fun. We had to move back our day because our kids are home. My wife's watching them right now.
Oh God!
But we had an appointment that we moved off. So I just forgot to turn off my alarm. I
Please,
apologize for
please,
that.
no, you don't have to do that. I'm not like the teacher in class calling. Well, I guess I am a little bit, but it led
You
to
kind
another
of
good
are.
story. I'll tell you this about snow days. Having grown up in Cleveland, Ohio, which is the snow belt, so we get that snow off the lake. When I was 16, we had a snow day. I'm looking outside. The next day, I took my driving test when school was canceled. School was canceled. It cleared up. The sun came out. The roads cleared up. I turned to my mom. I said, I want to take my driver's test today. She's like, you're a nut. You're going to fail. I said, no, I won't. I'm not my older brother. My brother was a terrible driver. He was horrible and failed. I did not fail my driving test, even on a snow day.
Even on a snow day. I took mine in January too when I was 16 and I passed too.
Yeah. Are you
It
a
wasn't a
January
snow
birthday?
day though. They had clear roads. They were cleared off.
Are you a January birthday?
I'm a September kid, but we had sports and I didn't have time to take driver's ed at the time. So the
See, I
winter
didn't have
times.
that problem. Wasn't good enough. I could take it right around my birthday. So there you go. Today's edition of Baseball Today is brought to you by Shopify. Shopify, the best place to start and grow a business, and that is why we partner with them here at John Boy Media. Did you know John Boy Media has relaunched our merch store on Shopify with our new /line site? It was a dream come true. We brought some ideas. Shopify brought the execution. As you're shopping our new launch, check out what Shopify can do for you. Life really is a home run when you have Shopify on your side. You got Shopify Sidekick, Shopify Magic, and the suite of AI tools. Total game changer. It's revolutionizing the way that you can build and manage a business. You'll have your own AI assistant guiding you through everything, directions, reports, editing image, content ideas. Shopify's got your next move covered. So if you kind of want to be like us here at John Boy Media and start building your brand from the ground up, it's time to go over to Shopify and start your trial today. Click that link, shopify.com/today. If you're ready to leave the amateurs and head on over to the big leagues, join us over at Shopify. All right, so there's another part of this whole Devin Williams equation. Even though he's coming off his worst season so far, how big a hole does his absence leave in the Bronx?
They kind of already addressed it at the trade deadline. I mean, they brought over David Bednar, who was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
They have another option in Camilo Doval that is also a proven closer at times. You could never have enough depth, I'll tell you that, especially in the bullpen. He definitely has. You're never going to be a better team if Devin Williams leaves. Like that would be silly of me to say. But there's lesser names that they can go out and get, names that don't cost as much, like a Tyler Rogers, a reliable bullpen arm that you can fill in. But the truth is the Yankees bullpen is not completely set, but they are in a very good standing, even with the departure of Devin Williams.
So you don't expect them to say, go out and get one of these guys that has been a proven closer, a Robert Suarez who's out on the market. He opted out of his deal, excuse me, in San Diego. Pete Fairbanks, they ended up, I believe, not picking up an option. At any rate, he is a free agent out of Tampa Bay. Kenley Jansen, I mean, I know he's in his late 30s, but he continues to pitch well. He was in relative anonymity a year ago, but still, he's throwing the ball pretty well. You don't expect them to get a guy that if Bednar either gets hurt or if it goes a little sideways, because right now they don't have that guy. I'm sorry. Camilo Doval has been a closer. Yankee fans saw him up close. And I said it at the trade deadline because I watch a ton of West Coast baseball. They're like, oh, we got Camilo Doval. All they look at is this guy who can breathe fire and throw 103. What they didn't see was that the plate moves around on him a ton.
Yeah.
And he lost his high leverage situation gig. So I don't think that that's a guy that you necessarily go into the year with and say, yeah, we feel great about him. Could he rediscover it? He could. Absolutely. He's another guy that changed teams. This one came in the middle of the year. I don't necessarily put that totally to the side, but if I'm a Yankee fan, I don't feel great about him. Wouldn't you want another proven commodity at the back end?
Absolutely. They definitely want another one, but They're out on Edwin Diaz. I don't see them forking over that kind of money,
No,
which is
I don't
weird
either.
to say about the Yankees. It kind of hurts my heart, even as a former Met, to say the Yankees are not spending at a rate that they should, being the Yankees. But they're out on him. But I could see them absolutely going for a Kenley Jansen, a guy that would probably slide into the eighth inning with a chance to take over the ninth for Bednar, or vice versa. Robert Suarez fits because he's an older guy that they don't need to give 5 years to, that kind of fits that plan. Um, they'll definitely go after a guy, but I don't think they feel like they have to fill in that ninth inning role. I think Luke Weaver's season was strange for them. I think he's way better than what he proved to be last year. I think they pushed him. His injury, that I think he tried to come back quicker because of Devin Williams' struggles, and I think they both kind of just tripped each other up in a sense. So I think he's more
Well,
reliable than what he showed last year.
but I think he's a free agent, though, so I think he'll be a
Oh, Weaver
goner.
is a free agent.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back.
See, yeah, this is why you host.
Yep.
Yeah, but they I don't think they're in for the top end, but I definitely see them getting another reliable arm that could fill in.
Yeah.
Like Kenley's, I think, a great fit.
Well, here's what I would say. Yankee fans can take their shots at Devin Williams because of his inconsistency, and they thought they were getting the Devin Williams in Milwaukee, and no, that's not what they got at all. He did two things for his stay in the Bronx. He pitched a lot of games, which should not be dismissed. When you throw almost 70 games, somebody's going to have to pick up that slack, and he changed their facial hair policy. I don't know if they're going to go back the other direction. Aaron Judge certainly didn't seem to like it, and in a almost silent protest, never came in with stubble on his face. So I'll be curious to see whether or not, like, is that what people are going to remember his tenure for? Is that they changed the beard policy?
I think it might. I'm weird. I never got to play for the Yankees. It was never a thing for me, but I kind of admired the fact that they had the no facial hair policy. I didn't appreciate the long hair because I remember when they were talking about trading for Seattle starter for
Randy Johnson?
when he was in Cincinnati.
Oh,
Jose Castillo.
Luis Castillo.
Luis Castillo, yeah. When
Yeah.
they were trying to trade for Luis Castillo, I was like, they're going to ask him to cut off his dreads? Like, shaving your beard is easy. I think that's an easy thing to do as a player, but asking somebody to cut off something they probably have almost a decade into growing, that one's the harder one for me to abide by. But I like the facial hair, the no facial hair look, and just you're wearing the pinstripes. Call me old fashioned.
Yeah. Well, eventually, by the way, Randy Johnson did get up to New York, and he looked like a different player, not only physically, but he looked like a different player on the mound too. Yeah, that would have been interesting. I never thought of that with Luis Castillo. It's a good call on your part. Good call. I don't know, Yankee fans. Let us know what you want to do. Mets fans, let us know how you're feeling. Are you just good with this? Lukewarm? Are you reserving judgment until Edwin Diaz is either signed on the dotted line to return to City or elsewhere, and then you'll make? I see it like, I will say this. One more point on Devin Williams. I think it's a fine consolation prize. It wouldn't make sense if they don't pony up the money, but once again, they have no control if Edwin Diaz wants to pitch elsewhere. I don't know what's in his heart. I don't know where his family's comfortable. You would think he's fine. He's a sweet kid. I've talked to him several times. He seems well acclimated, well liked, all that sort of stuff. But you don't know what goes into these decisions. They're life-changing decisions, and he has the ability to do whatever he wants, and that's perfectly fine. So even if the money's equal, or if the Mets even offer more and he wants to go pitch elsewhere, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. I think this is a good preemptive strike to get yourself ready in case Edwin Diaz elects to go elsewhere. That's
Agreed.
what I would say.
I think you're open yourself up for more moves, but if it doesn't happen, you've got something set.
You have something set. Exactly. All right, so there's another interesting part of this equation, because just like Juan Soto, Williams ends up being one and done in the Bronx before signing with the Mets as a free agent. is it a big deal that New York is losing free agents to New York's other team?
It is a big deal. Dan might disagree with me, our producer extraordinaire. It's a big deal for Mets fans more than it is for Yankees fans at the moment because, yeah, they gave Juan Soto the biggest contract and he deserved it. But they made the playoffs last year. The Yankees did, and the Mets did not. So there's that. Uh, I think it goes back even a year before that with Severino, coming and signing a 1-year deal with the Mets, having trouble in the Bronx, and then showing out to be elite. He had a great year in Queens, so much so that he turned that into going to Sacramento for some reason. But this is the big one for me this offseason because now that they've traded Brandon Nimmo, they have a better fit for Cody Bellinger than the Yankees do. Like, obviously, he did really well in the Bronx. He fits their team perfectly. But I honestly think he fits better in Queens as far as team structure goes. Now that Brandon Nimmo's gone, I think he would match the Mets better than the Yankees. And if the Yankees lose Cody Bellinger on top of that, an obvious need for them to the Mets, then I think it's truly become an epidemic. And I think you'll see Yankees fans finally fully agree that there's something going on in Queens and Stevie Cohen has become a problem for Hal Steinbrenner. And we'll see kind of a big fallout. If Bellinger becomes a Met, I think there's going to be at least on some back pages and some front pages of papers that it's a bigger deal than it has been as of yet.
Wow. That's I didn't even think of it that way. I think that's a really interesting call. Why do you think Bellinger fits better with the Mets than with the Yankees?
I think with David Stearns, he's been a defensive first kind of guy, and the last year's team didn't fit that for the Mets, up the middle defense especially. So they shorted up at second base with Marcus Semien coming over. They have Lindor at shortstop. An elite center fielder like that's really good defensively. That he's not elite.
No, well, he's way better in left than he is in center.
I agree with that, but if you have the ability to know that you're playing center field on a regular basis, maybe eliminate the fact that he doesn't have to play left field anymore, that you can lock in. He's so athletic. He's so good with the glove that I think if you tell him you're going to play first base on occasion and you're going to be a regular center fielder, I think he can become elite. I think his versatility kind of holds him back because taking balls in center field is very different than shagging balls in left field. If he knows going in that he's going to play significant time in center field, I think he can elevate that up a level. I think he fits that lineup a lot better because as much as we talked about the bullpen for the Yankees and the Mets, I think their lineup in Queens is the biggest question mark. They have so many holes to fill, and he gives them versatility, a left-handed option. I think he's good enough. I think the way he plays, the way he could slide in, I think he just fits. I think he fits the Mets better than the Yankees.
Interesting. I'll get back to the original question, which is whether or not it's a big deal that free agents are leaving the Bronx for Queens. So we know obviously the two big ones are Juan Soto and Devin Williams. Severino did it. You mentioned that he's moved on to Sacramento. Betances did it. He comes with an asterisk because he was injured at that point. Bader basically did it. There was a short stint where I think he got DFA'd by the Yankees and played a couple of weeks in Cincinnati. That was it. Others like Cano and Ottavino both played with the Yankees, but there were some years in between, going to other places, whether that's Boston for Ottavino, I believe, and obviously Seattle for Cano before ending up in Queens, all that sort of stuff. I do think it's something that Steve Cohen, even though I don't know if he's talked about it much. It doesn't feel like it. I think he likes being the preferred destination. I think that's a big deal to him. It's not as big a deal as making the playoffs or trying to win the World Series. That's number one, but he is making these moves because he thinks that will all help eventually leading to the point where you can lift the commissioner's trophy and be celebratory. But I do think it's something where if he and Hal are ever in the same room, there's a little bit of like, hey, you guys are trying so hard, but we're the preferred destination. People say, well, that's because he's paying more money. Well, yeah, no shit. Like that's what good teams do. That's what teams that have the ability to do it. Not everybody does it. Steve Cohen does it, and I think that he likes that. He probably enjoys that.
Do you not think it'll be like the Yankees obviously want Bellinger back? Everybody, if he fits their team, great. If he signs in Queens, do you think it's going to be a bigger story than what we just discussed? I think they'll have to address it.
I think I agree with you. I don't think that this is that big a move, meaning the Devin Williams one when you're talking about how Yankee fans or how the Yankee organization perceives it. I think whether he joined the Mets or the Royals or the Astros, none of that mattered. Just not here is fine.
I agree with that.
Bellinger is a wanted man with the Yankees, and it would actually surprise me if he left there. I think it's a great fit. I think that not only physically what he brings with that toolbox on the field, but just I think he fits in New York. I think he's done a great job there, and easygoing guy, a little bit different than some of the, he's like, hey, what up, dude? Like a little bit chill, but I think his thing kind of works there with the Yankees. So I'd be surprised. I'm going to have to reevaluate if he ends up at Citi Field. Like that is going to be a big deal.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think it would be a surprise because he does everything well. The stadium fits his swing very well. He fits their club. He looks good in pinstripes. Like the fans embraced him really well. He had some success. Like all of the factors are pointing to the Bronx. I think even Juan Soto had question marks that everybody kind of assumed he would set the market. Like he would just take the highest dollar bid. It helps everybody out that's in the baseball world. They committed that to them. The Yankees obviously wanted him back, but Stevie Cohen went far and above. This one would be the most surprising because of all the things you said before. It just makes so much sense for him to go back that it would be shocking if he left. But if he left for Queens, I think that would be a pretty big deal.
Yep. All right, last thing before we get out of here, and we can get Jerry back to his kids on this snow day in Ohio. Jeff Passan, our buddy at ESPN, is reporting that the Mets are, quote, in the mix on free agent Kyle Schwarber. Do you think this is legit or just a move to try and drive up the price on the NL MVP runner-up?
I think it's legit. Either way, it's a great move. I think if they're just making the price tag go up, it's really smart. But I don't know what the Mets do this year. If they don't get Edwin Diaz, they have so many question marks. They have an open DH spot. They lost Pete Alonso. Like, I don't know what they do if they don't go after these big names. So the reason why they are in from Jeff Passan is because they should be in. There is a real fit. I've been begging for them to get Kyle Schwarber since before he went to Philly. He just makes so much sense in that lineup, but he isn't the answer that they need. They still have 4 other spots that they have to shore up, including first base, which Schwarber can't play. But I mean, if you're trying to win, this guy is a winner. And I think he makes their team better. If they sign him, it wouldn't be a surprise to me. So I think it's smart for them to say that they're in the mix for it because they should be.
Yeah, I think this is real. I don't think this is, hey, let's see how much we can make Philly pay for Kyle Schwarber. I don't think that's the case. I think they want a guy who hit 56 homers and had an OPS plus of 150 a year ago in their lineup, even though there's a ton of swing and miss. I mean, look, they just traded one of their more dependable left-handed bats in Brandon Nimmo. So why not bring in Kyle Schwarber? In addition to him fitting their lineup, you know where else he fits? In the clubhouse. And whether you want to believe Mike Puma of the New York Post, his report that came out the other day or not, I don't think it would surprise anybody that there needs to be some mending and they need to have more guys that are accountable front and center. I mean, that was a disaster what happened to them last year. It was inexcusable. They have way too talented a team, and I know they had their pitching issues, and that was even more front and center because of injury issues on top of it. But man, I'm sorry. I don't know if that total collapse happens if Kyle Schwarber's on that team last year. I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that was an unacceptable collapse for the level of talent that they had on the team. It's an interesting. That's why I wanted to be in that conversation with Nimmo and David Stearns. I promise you that Nimmo wasn't the problem in Queens in that clubhouse. He's one of the best people I've ever met or played with. There's something going on there, and it will be addressed. Kyle Schwarber makes your team better. He makes your team better on the field, off the field. He wants to win, and he'll hold anybody accountable. I think there a lot goes into that, and having a guy that's not willing, or having a guy that's willing to step into a superstar's face and be like, "Bro, you're not giving enough. I need more out of you." To talk to somebody like that, that's rare to find in today's game because there's a lot of we're in a weird spot to where you can't throw at guys anymore, and I get it. I agree with it. You're not allowed to do things. Getting in a player's face feels foreign now in today's game because that's a coach's job or that's the front office's job. The guy showing up to do it. It just doesn't. It's not as common as it used to be. And there's some old school guys. I remember Jeff Samardzija is a guy like that would just be like, "Hey man, you're not giving enough." And sometimes that's as much as it takes. And Schwarber's right along there. I think Bryce Harper's a good guy for that. Maybe they were missing that David Wright. That's what makes a guy a captain. And that's what it's so hard to talk about clubhouse. Schwarber is definitely one of those, and he will make your team better. And the Mets need him. You need a guy like that at least.
I still would be more surprised than wouldn't be if he ended up in Citi Field playing his home games. I don't know. I am going to be curious to see what they do at first base because I don't think Pete Alonso's coming back. To me, that's the more interesting part of the equation. I wonder if they don't make some sort of massive trade somewhere. And, I mean, is there a Tarek Skubal, Spencer Torkelson equation that you could get? I know Tigers fans are going to yell at me saying, "Hey, you're just a Cleveland fan trying to clear the cupboard here." Y'all have a ton of players that are coming. Colt Keith can go play first base if you want. If you guys end up getting a huge prospect haul and young guys that can help the Tigers right now, that 2-for-8 deal could end up working. So I don't know. I think that Pete Alonso's a goner myself. That's me.
I'm not willing to accept that completely yet, but I do think that he deserves more than what he got last year in the free agent market as far as like teams wanting him, and he proved that by going out and playing. He had a great season.
Yep,
I think everybody that was doubting him got that answered. He's one of the best power hitters in the game today. He's an old school throwback, like Jason Giambi style first baseman, like a guy that's just going to crush homers, drive in runs. Every team needs a guy like that. The Mets don't seem to be giving him the same kind of like hometown, like we would love you. You're the all-time home run leader. It makes sense. We need a guy like that. I think it's probably pissing him off, if not hurting his feelings, that he's not doing that. So I think if another team presents him with a deal, that he'll be more than willing to accept it, to be like, "Look, you guys didn't want me." Like
this will be twice, Jerry. It'll be twice they didn't want him. Like,
my feelings are hurt on behalf. I'm mad for Pete Alonso because I think he has been disrespected, but not just by the Mets, but especially by the Mets. So I think a team that just go out there and be like, "You're our guy. We want you. Come play for us." I think he goes and the Mets miss out and their team is worse off because of it.
Yeah, I said in our free agency draft, I took him and I had him ending up in Boston for, I think, 5 years. I think that that's a perfect place for him with a young team. Here's Polar Bear Pete that plays every freaking day and probably hit 45 homers at Fenway Park. So,
Do you
um,
know where else he fits really well? The Yankees. They're not going to pay him. They should, though. He fits perfect
interesting.
in that lineup.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a good call. Really good
They won't
call.
pay him. They'll let the Red Sox, steal him away, but he should be a Yankee, I think.
Well, this was fun. I got to get you back to your family. We got to
Yes,
go
sir.
make a. Are we going to go make a snowman today and make the carrot as a nose and all
I'm gonna
that?
I'm gonna go drag my kids down a very fast hill and on a sled today. I'll make them probably scream for a little bit, but laugh at
Good.
the bottom of the hill. We're gonna have a blast.
What do we have? Do we have a toboggan or one of those orange saucers? What do we have
We
sled
have
wise?
old school like just sleds, like big long plastic red and blue sleds that I can push really fast down a hill at our reservoir down the road.
Are you 40 yet?
42.
42.
I'm
Yeah.
in my
Okay.
Jackie Robinson year.
Excellent. Well, be careful. I'm just telling you. Once it hits 40, I don't care whether you were a pro athlete or not. You got to be careful sledding. At some point, you can't go run, jump, and go head first into this shit because you're going to come back in a cast and bandages and walking crooked. And I
It's
want your
definitely
safety.
scary. I ski now too since I quit, since I retired. Like it's a lot of fun, but boy, am I sore.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, this was awesome. I appreciate you filling in on short notice. Plouffe is on some majestic flight somewhere. We'll see him. I don't know when. We'll see him at some other point. So hopefully we'll see everybody later in the week because that would mean there's another big signing or trade or something. In the meantime, for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented sledding-bound Jerry Blevins filling in at the drop of a hat, always available, even if our starter can't go the distance. I am Chris Rose. We will see you sometime down the line here on Baseball Today.